First dilemma is from Red Apollo 23. My dilemma. So one of my goals for 2021 was to get my first job. I had wanted to get a job by January 15th, 2021. So when 2021 came around, I didn't hesitate to apply. I went and applied to Pluckers and waited 4 to 5 days. Didn't hear anything back and chalked it up as an L, but kept it pushing. I then applied to another restaurant and waited another 4 to 5 days and didn't hear anything back. At this point, I was a little frustrated but kept it pushing yet again. After a few days, I went and applied to a Chipotle and yet again waited another 3 days to not hear anything. Also, the January 15th goal was out of the window because the day already passed. I then made a goal to get one before my 19th birthday, February 1st. So over the next couple of weeks, I applied to a Wendy's and a Target. I didn't get a word from Wendy's, but I got an email from Target yesterday saying they aren't going to continue with me. And I've been bummed out ever since, not because I wanted to work there, but because I still didn't have a job. Over the past year, I've been on my grind and a lot of my change happened mentally, not physically. So to others, it may look like I haven't done anything. And with it being my 19th birthday tomorrow, I'm bummed out because it makes me look like a bum who doesn't want to work, when in reality, I'm itching to get a job for me and to prove my parents wrong. Okay, this question makes me realize just how far behind I am. I'm still answering questions from January. So I'm assuming that you probably got this figured out already. And also, I want to use this as a quick opportunity to talk about Wizio. This video isn't sponsored by Wizio, but I do want to remind you guys that I am doing consultations now. So if you need personalized advice in video format, and if you want it to be private, as opposed to me putting your business out there for thousands of people to watch, you can hit me up on Wizio and I'll give you a video response, a 3 to 5 minute personalized video response within 7 days. Or if you pay a little bit extra, I can get it back to you within 2 days. So if you find yourself in a dire situation, hit me up on Wizio. But with that being said, okay, for anyone else who is in this situation right here, you're having trouble finding a job. I know that depending on where you live, the job market may or may not be easy, because where I live, I didn't really have a problem getting my first job. My first job was at IHOP. I absolutely hated it, but it gave me enough experience to put on my next job application. And that next job was a little less terrible. And each job that I worked was a little less terrible than the last. So you have to start somewhere. Now, it seems to me like you are applying at bottom of the barrel type of places. And that's no slight to anybody working at those places. Okay, you take what you can get. You get your money. Money is money. It is what it is. Okay, some of you might like working at those types of places. I'm not trying to put anyone down, but basically what I'm saying is that those jobs are typically not very difficult to obtain. Now, if you're having trouble getting those jobs, that either means that you live in a competitive job market. For example, if your minimum wage is very high, the chances are you're going to have older people working at those positions. Whereas where I live, because the minimum wage is so low, most adults aren't willing to take those jobs. So it's mostly teenagers. But my recommendation to you is, if you want money, find a way to get it on your own. Even though it'll take a lot more effort in the short term, it'll pay off a lot more in the long term. If you're having that much trouble getting a job, maybe you should take that as a sign that you should be getting money in another way. Not in an illegal way. Okay, don't go out there and sell drugs and say that Jordan Green told you to do that. I am not liable for any crimes that you guys commit in the chase for money. But I will say that if you want money, it is out there for you. You just have to be willing to put in that initial work for free, which a lot of people are not willing to do. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice. But because you're not working, and like I said earlier, I'm assuming that you probably got a job by now, but to anyone else who's having trouble getting a job, take this opportunity where you're not working to use that time to put towards your purpose, put towards a way to make money for yourself and to be your own boss. Now also, don't put extra pressure on yourself to get a job just to prove other people wrong. It doesn't matter what other people think. When I was doing YouTube at first and not getting money for it and working at H&M, from the outside looking in, I looked like a 19-year-old college dropout with a pipe dream at a dead-end job. But look at me now, just 1 year later. So you have to understand that people may not see the vision that you have, and that's okay. But it's all about how you perceive yourself. No matter how much money you have to see yourself as a person of value. And you will soon find that that value will come back to you in abundance. So be patient and be faithful, but also keep moving forward, keep working. The next dilemma is from NBA_SIP. Alright, so your boy has been horny lately, so I hit up my ex not too long ago. As I expected, the cheeks are still very available for me. But I get this feeling that it's not worth it and a waste of my time. Should I just go crazy on the cheeks and live my life, or should I try to resist the temptation? This is probably just a placebo scenario, but I don't know what to do. My thoughts are contradicting themselves. Goddamn, I had to wait 5 minutes to post the second part. Tough. That's a pretty tough situation. My philosophy is I don't believe in hookups, whether that's with an ex or with a random girl that you met off a dating app or at a bar. I'm not the hookup type of person. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that hookups are bad. I just don't believe that there's much to be gained from them, especially with an ex. I think that when you're doing it with an ex, that can fall into that toxic space very quickly because feelings will more than likely be caught. If that's your ex, the chances are at some point or another you guys had feelings for each other. And when you are intimate in that way, when you're having sex with that person, those feelings are going to come back eventually if you keep doing that. And the fact that it even occurred to you, the fact that it even crossed your mind to reach out to your ex, to see that, to see if she was still down to do that, lets me know that maybe you have some healing that you need to do. If you feel like you need to hit her up for that, the chances are you're still not over her, which is okay. Now, this was back in February, so you could be in a completely different space right now. You might be married for all I know. I don't know what you have going on in your life. But what I do know is I don't think that you should hit your ex up specifically for sex. I think that if you're going to hit up an ex, the only reason why you should be doing that is for closure, or maybe if you want to rekindle some type of friendship. That's a whole different story. But in my opinion, I just feel like it's not worth it. It's not worth the trauma that will come with it. And if you have a gut feeling that it's not worth it, you should probably listen to that gut feeling. Because the chances are, if you do follow through with the temptation and the desire for instant gratification, you're going to regret it. The next dilemma is from Benja GDY10. How should I respond to an insult? I mean, in my opinion, there are two ways. The first is to respond with another insult and enter a domination competition, and the other is to remain silent or not. I think that if it's a one-time thing, then just let it slide. Just walk away from the situation, leave it be. A lot of times when people insult you, they're really projecting their insecurities onto you. Misery loves company. You have to think about it. If somebody is going out of their way to spread negativity, what does that say about them? What does that say about the headspace that they're in mentally? It says that they're in a pretty bad spot. And if anything, they don't need another insult. Now you're just feeding the fire. You're feeding back into their negative thought cycles, and now you're caught up in that same headspace. The best thing you could do in that type of situation is to spread positivity. Spread positivity. Your ego is not going to like it. But if you do that, you will always win the argument. Because there is no argument to be had. Sometimes I get hate comments, and for a while it bothered me, and I wanted to clap back at people, but what I realized is that that's not going to do anything. All I'm doing is letting them win by giving them the energy and the response that they're looking for. They want somebody to be just as insecure as they are. But when you spread positivity back to them, and you tell them, I wish you the best in life, I'm giving you positive vibes and positive energy, or you give them a compliment, things like that, that's going to plant the seed of positivity in their mind. And even if right now they have too much pride to acknowledge it, over time it's going to grow and develop. Now, I think that if you're in a situation where somebody is constantly putting you down, for example, a bully, or maybe you have toxic parents, or a boss that's constantly talking down on you, that's something that needs to be addressed. You need to talk to them and tell them that's not going to slide. Point blank, period. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much power or authority you think you have over me. But you're not going to talk to me like that. Because I am a self-respecting man. I'm a self-respecting individual. I know that I'm not going to tolerate that degree of disrespect. Especially if you know that you're spreading positive vibes and they're constantly trying to tear you down. Now, I would say distance yourself as well, if it's possible. Distance yourself from whoever's spreading that negativity in your life. But ultimately, you probably need to have that conversation with that person. If it's somebody that you know you can't distance yourself from, somebody that you have to be around, you need to tell them straight up. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. But understand that it's not about your ego. It's not about preserving your pride or your masculinity. It's about self-respect. And with self-respect comes the demand for respect from other people, especially people that you keep close to you in your circle. The next dilemma is from Nota Masai. I swear I picked up a toxic trait from someone. I say things in an attempt to hear a reaction, and I swear it's going to get me in a sticky situation one of these days. I already said something so dumb to someone yesterday, and I've been overthinking the hell out of it. Basically, I'm just wondering, how do you get rid of toxic traits like this? Okay, the first thing you need to do is take accountability for your actions. Right off the bat, you're blaming someone else for the things that you're doing. You're saying that you picked up a toxic trait from that person. No, you picked up that toxic trait yourself. Because even though there may be toxic people in your life, understand that there are also non-toxic people in your life. So you can't be blaming other people for your actions. That's part of manhood. That's part of being a creator of your reality. You have to learn to take accountability. You can't put yourself as the victim of that situation. Now, I think it's pretty interesting that this dilemma fell right after that last dilemma because it kind of shows the other side of the coin. And it just goes to show that when people insult other people, it's mostly to get a reaction out of them. They want to see you get into the same self-sabotaging headspace that they're in. And I'm not trying to put you down for that toxic habit. As a matter of fact, I commend you for having that degree of self-awareness and understanding that you need to stop. But it starts with taking accountability. Once you learn to take accountability for your actions and your habits, that's where change can begin.